Hello everyone, Derek Stam Toys, and we are back with another action figure review. Actually, also in a new toy room. Setup doesn't look very different, but that's also because I'm just, trying to keep it similar enough for the UK tour. So once I get that finished, I can reimagine everything for the next weekly show, let alone the pay-per-view that comes after it. Sure, you guys may have noticed, took like a little week break, had a fairly stressful period. We're not going to talk a lot about that though. Let's just say there was a lot of moving around to do and just a lot of stress. But had this along with some other figures for probably roughly about 5-ish days. And well, all I can say is, why don't we bust out that good old trusty knife and we can get into this package. I would open it on camera, but I don't have a tripod, so that doesn't really work out well in my favor. So BRB. Alrighty, you guys, just to show you the moment of truth, as mind you, I have yet to open this. I know what's inside, of course, but this is going to be the first reveal of the box within the box. And well, as you guys can see, we've got the Coliseum Collection 2-pack, Big Boss Man and Bam Bam Bigelow. So why don't we slide this up on out of here and get into this action figure review. Might actually, have to use both hands for this, because this is a process here. This box is also heavy as hell, if I do say so myself. A nice hefty box for this 2-pack though. It does make sense. You pick it up, you've got Big Boss Man on the one side, you've got Bam Bam and Big Boss Man on the other side. You've got the nice little sticker there. I love seeing that sticker. You've got Bam Bam here, and then you've got Ultimate Edition with the nice blue, red, and white stripes there. You've got Bam Bam on the top, and you've got a bunch of bullshit on the bottom. But yeah, with all that being said, let's figure out how to open this up and we can get into the excitement of this. Is this going to be a chase? Is this not going to be a chase? I don't know, but before I get copyrighted, BRB. Alrighty, you guys, as you can see, opening this box up, you've got this nice interface going into the box. They are not the chases, but we do have the nice blue packaging for the Big Boss Man here. We've got the intersection piece that separates both men, and then we've got the Bam Bam back here. Might have to, it's gonna take a second to slide that out. There we go. Box is empty. I really love the design of the box itself. You could almost maybe undo this and it could be like a crowd background. Maybe that's what they were going for here. I don't know. That it's still a really nice box. But speaking of that, we can throw this over into the area of the arena that has yet to be finished, and taking both men over and setting them up nice together. Man, this Coliseum Collection packaging is definitely top notch. I can see why they charge the pretty penny that they do, but of course if you wait like me, you may save a little bit of that green, a little bit of that money. But at the end of the day, why don't we get these guys out of their packaging? And this is something I'm going to try to do with one hand, because I heard it's fairly easy, and yes, indeed, it looks to be. I'm going to take a look at the back of the box here, or well, the back of the carding as well, since, the carding itself just slides out, which is such a nice feature. These are all of the other Coliseum Collection figures that they have come out with so far. You've got the Terry Funk and Hogan. You've got Rick Rude and Jake the Snake. I would love to have the Jake the Snake. You've got the Hart Foundation. Got George the Animal Steel and Roddy Piper. Would love to have the Roddy Piper. And the other 2-pack that I'm definitely going to try to chase down, the Ricky the Dragon and the $1 Million Man 2-pack. Even if I gotta buy them separately, I do plan to get them. So, yeah. Of course, looking at the Big Boss Man's packaging, nice and a little bit different, though similar when it comes to the layout down here. I didn't really take a nice gander up here, but if you really want to, pause it to read the Bam Bam Bigelows, because this review is already going to be a hefty one as it is. But yeah, you turn this bad boy around, and I was about to say he should be able to just slide out, though I am going to have to do a little bit of work. As you can see, he is sealed up in there, so I'm going to pause this to get both men out of their plastic prisons, and we can get all their accessories out. Mind you, if you didn't know, the accessories are down here in the little box stands that they stand on, so that's also a nice little feature there. But yeah, BRB. Alrighty, you guys, approximately about 30 minutes later, I finally have everything out of each box, including the figures themselves, as I'm sure you can see. And boy, what a treat to be getting this Coliseum collection pack, because we've got a plentiful of accessories. Of course, Big Boss Man does have a lot more of the accessories compared to Bam Bam, but Bam Bam's accessories definitely do not disappoint. But I guess, speaking of accessories, first things first, let's get into those. And well, we're going to start off with the Bam Bam Bigelow. Of course, he does come with 3 different sets of interchangeable heads, 3 different sets of interchangeable hands, and this nice cloth goods t-shirt that I want to say has Velcro on it. It does, which probably a hell of a lot easier to put on him knowing that he is a bigger superstar. But speaking of the 3 different sets of interchangeable hands, first and foremost, we've got the set of fist hands which come plugged into the Bam Bam already. We've got this like, I don't know exactly what to call these hands. I like to call them like choppy or slap hands, even though they're not like fully like smoothed out for a slap. Maybe having a little bit of the claw. Maybe you could call these the claw hands. I don't exactly know what you would like to call those, but I guess we'll kind of stick around for the claw hands, because they're not the Kawhi Leonard shaking hands as MDT likes to call them. But we also do get a set of weapon holding hands as well. Always a nice touch. We've got 3 interchangeable head scans. The one, of course, plugged into the figure, so we will look at that here in a little bit. But this straight face head scan for Bam Bam Bigelow might be one of the best head scans I've ever seen on a Bam Bam, and it's not a reuse head scan, I don't think. I do have 2 Bam Bam Bigelows that we can compare this to, but they're of course a little bit older, so I'm not sure if this exactly is a reuse. It could be, but I know these 2 other head scans I don't believe are reuse head scans, and the tattoos on the head are looking absolutely phenomenal, and I love this screaming expression. It looks just like Bam Bam Bigelow in my opinion. Realistically, all 3 of these head scans do. But speaking of Bam Bam though, he does come with this really nice cloth t-shirt. Of course, you've got the Bam Bam with the flames on the front. Very like 90s feeling when it comes to the graphic design here on the shirt. But you know, can't complain nonetheless. Especially when you get cloth goods. But now that we've got all of Bam Bam's stuff out of the way, we can get into the Big Boss Man accessories. And like I said, this man does come with quite a bit, including 3 interchangeable heads, 3 interchangeable hands, 2 sets of handcuffs, 1 longer and 1 shorter. The short handcuffs we first seen with the Dominic Mysterio Ultimate Edition, I want to say. We then also saw him with the Monday Night War Stone Cold Steve Austin, and now we are also seeing him with this Bam Bam Bigelow. Of course, I do not have the Dominic Mysterio, but I do know they did come with him. He has his glasses his nightstick or his police baton, and of course the accessory I'm most excited for, the ball and chain accessory that you can plug in around a superstar's ankle and maybe create the effect that he can't go very far without having to drag a 50-pound ball around his ankle. I don't know. The imagination can be endless as far as that realistically goes there. But of course, taking a nice look at everything, you've got the 3 different sets of interchangeable hands. Since he has a mix of 2 of them plugged in already, you can actually see all 3 sets right now. We've got a set of pointer fingers. We've got a set of, weapon holding hands / mic holding hands. And you got a set of fist hands for beating the shit out of your opponent. Of course, going into the 3 interchangeable head scans, you've got this grimacing look, which looks really good, honestly. Might be my favorite Big Boss Man head scan of all time. You've got this screaming expression, which has a little bit of schmutz on it, so I'm not very happy there. But that might be the only quality control issue I've seen as far as the head scans go. Both of them looking really, really good, though. I can't complain. Taking a nice gander at the handcuffs here. You can see they are a nice little silver color. Not shiny really, but shiny enough in the sense. Same thing goes for the longer set of handcuffs here. Nothing too special about these, but they're still nice nonetheless. You've got a nice pair of golden shades with the black fronts on them. They do look good, though I wish that they would plug in around the ear. I'm sure you'll see why if I do try to take some pictures with it. The police baton, it's not that we haven't seen this before, but if anything, it might feel a little bit stronger than previous iterations, maybe a little slimmer too. If I can find my police baton, maybe we'll have to do a little bit of side-by-side comparisons, because I do also own, I want to say, the original Big Boss Man Elite. I just don't have all the accessories with it. And then the main course here, the ball and chain, I love how they have the lock here, though I do wish the lock was a separate piece and you could play around with it, but nonetheless really nice. Though I will say the silver I think looks a little bit more dull compared to the handcuffs. But yeah, now that we've taken 6 minutes just to go over the accessories, I guess we can go over both of these figures. And well, with that being said, let's slide the accessories out of the way. And first things first, because this is the figure I was not the most excited for out of this 2-pack, I did want it nonetheless because, I feel like a Big Boss Man Ultimate to be standing off in the crowd back there where I normally have Big Boss Man as of the UK tour. Just kind of like a head of security or something of that nature. I feel like the Ultimate Edition definitely works good. And just taking a nice look at this figure, I think this is the first time we've seen a Big Boss Man with the blue stripe going down the side of the pants. Of course, the original has yellow. I want to say the re-release of the original has yellow, and I don't know how many other Big Boss Mans realistically exist out there. I know Bam Bam has more figures than Big Boss Man, at least that I'm aware of. But of course, this figure is looking pretty spiffy nonetheless. You've got the silver belt buckle here. You've got the removable police baton holder here, which is a first time piece, I want to say, when it comes to Big Boss Man. A nice unique sculpt there. Speaking of nice and unique sculpts, these shoulder pad things I don't think ever were truly sculpted on the figure. They might have been a little bit, but these are actually sculpted on this side. The other side's a little flat, but they had to sculpt the one to put this strap over the Big Boss Man instead of sculpting it onto the torso like they did with previous iterations. So this is a nice little change up, so you can actually move that to read the Big Boss Man underneath it if need be. Though my Elite Big Boss Man has the Big Boss Man patch over here. Don't know if that's something that's accurate or not. But yeah, nonetheless, this Big Boss Man is pretty dang cool. I can't complain too much here, though the Ultimate Edition chest articulation is not the best here, but the butterfly joints are nice and smooth, not too stiff, not too, loose. The shoulders are nice. The upper bicep rotation is nice. The double jointed arms are fairly smooth. Everything so far here has been running fairly smooth, including the wrist bend and articulation. You've got this upper thigh cut, of course, with it being on pin and knees. The double jointed knees are not too bad, actually a little stiff though for pin and knees, though I am not complaining there. You do not have any lower shin articulation though. You do have a little bit of ankle rock here. I don't know if you'll be able to get a full rotation, as a lot of the newer shoes and all that stuff have the rotation in them, which he does. It's just you're not going to get very far based off of the sculpt there. But yeah, and then the one last thing that we have to test out here. Whoa, it was a little stiff to get it there, but he does have a fairly nice drop down hip, doing a nice little big boot there from Big Boss Man. I don't know if he ever really delivered the big boot, but he could at least deliver a nice kick to the gut when it comes to Bam Bam Bigelow there. But yeah, so with that being said, I may have to take this off camera real quick just so I can plug his leg down, because how stiff that is, it kind of scared me a little bit. But yeah, so BRB, and we will then get into the Bam Bam Bigelow. Alrighty, you guys, after a quick little break to go take out my dog, and well, actually dogs, because I did get a new dog, but we won't talk about all that. I don't think you guys want to hear about my dog situation. I think you guys want to hear more about this Coliseum 2-pack, since we still have this Bam Bam left to review. First things first, I am absolutely loving this grimacing scan, which I think this one might be a redo of a head scan, because this one looks familiar, but I'm not too sure. Of course, the tattoo application's still looking beast. Love the facial hair, the missing tooth, and everything is just looking fantastic. And unlike the Big Boss Man, in my opinion, this Bam Bam's articulation is a little bit more better. The butterfly joints are a tad bit more smoother when it comes to how they just rock. The arms are pretty nice. They're not as stiff, but meh. I'd rather have the butterfly joints be more stiff anyways. The upper bicep is quite nice. Got the double jointed elbow, which this one is not fully articulating the double jointed piece there. There we go. Maybe it was because his chest was in the way. But yeah, everything seems to be working quite nice so far, including the wrist bend and swivel. You've got a nice back bend here, which also actually includes a pretty nice rock back to the front of the torso, a little bit of swivel there as the ultimates do. You've got the nice waist swivel there, which I actually did not show off with the Big Boss Man, so just a little quick swivel of the waist if I could without fucking up this pose here. See, it's just a tad bit stiffer on this side, but can't say it's too terrible. Might have definitely fucked that pose up just a little bit, but meh. Yeah, no, it's actually fine. It's cool. You've got the nice upper thigh cut there. Nice double jointed knees that do include the pins. So, both men on pins here. And then, of course, because he is not on a pants mold, Bam Bam Bigelow does have the ankle articulation along with all the cool new jazz with the feet, like how, well, if I can get it to move actually, there we go. You've got the ankle rotation, the newer feet articulation that they've been including. And then same thing when it comes to Big Boss Man. It's actually a little bit hard to move the hip joint there, but he can throw a pretty solid kick to the gut, maybe a big boot depending on who he's facing here. And well, actually it was a little bit smoother to bring it back down. So yeah, this Bam Bam is quite nice. I love the attire here and everything to go around. But yeah, with all that being said, why don't we get into a little bit of action figure comparisons, because it's not very often we see these two men in action figure reviews. So let's get their comparisons out of the way now, shall we? Alrighty, you guys, as you can see, I have my one Big Boss Man Elite here, usually the one that stands over here in the crowd, as I did mention earlier. We've got quite a nice difference here when it comes to both figures. Of course, I do have this one standing like a little like wide-legged. I don't know why he won't stand fully like. There we go. Oh, but won't give me 2 seconds. Alrighty, attempt number 2 at this. Now that we've got them both standing just about as straight as the legs can be, you can see that the height on both of these figures here is it kind of looks a little different in my opinion. Alright, there we go. I was about to say I don't know why Big Boss Man Ultimate here will not stand properly, but there we go. As the glasses fall off, you can see that standing straight, they're both actually quite even. Though I will say the Elite definitely looks to have a smaller torso maybe, so maybe he was a little bit bigger for the time period with the Ultimate Edition. Watch me not be able to get these glasses back on his face here. Yeah, fuck him. And another fun detail you can kind of notice too, along with the yellow and the blue stripe that I was mentioning earlier, the blues are definitely a lot different compared to one another. This one you can definitely tell is a little bit older. It's got a little bit more like wear on the blue, so the blues may be a little bit more faded or saturated because of sunlight or something of that nature. And then you've got the newer figure, which has a nice bright blue and it pops off really, really nice. And you can also see another attention to detail I mentioned earlier. The Big Boss Man tag is right there, but on this one, because you can move it, they put it over here. I don't know if that's accurate or not. Of course, on the box it shows it that way, so that's a nice attention to detail there. But yeah, I guess that's really it for the comparisons here, because I don't have any other figures of this guy. So let's get into the comparisons for Big Boss Man. Or should I say, you know, Bam Bam Bigelow, because I keep fucking up the names here. This is probably why I shouldn't do double reviews. Alrighty, you guys, as you can see, we've got two different Elites to compare here with the Ultimate Edition Bam Bam Bigelow. So far, one thing I do notice is I want to say the skin tone has remained fairly the same amongst all three of them. I don't think one is even really slightly off looking at them in the light and looking at them through the camera. Maybe a little bit of a slight difference on the camera, I'm not too sure. But we have the Then, Now, and Forever Elite Bam Bam, I want to say, here on the left, and I can't exactly remember which Bam Bam this one is on the right, or I could have them mixed up because, God, honestly, it's been forever. But to have another Bam Bam here in the collection is always nice, and to be honest with you, I really love the way the Ultimate Edition poses compared to the Elites, because if you guys know, Bam Bam Elites, they don't really pose well in the legs. Like the knees down are fine, but once you get into this kick forward, it's a little ass, as you can see here. And well, because they're on ratchet joints, of course the legs have that little snap sound. But yeah, you know, I can't complain here at all when it comes to any of these figures. But the UE Bam Bam, honestly, if you don't have a Bam Bam in the collection, I definitely recommend trying to get your hands on this, whether you don't want the Big Boss Man or not. that's up to you. You might be able to find this on eBay loose or something of that nature. But yeah, I don't know. This Bam Bam Ultimate is definitely a must get in my opinion. And honestly, I do kind of love how they gave him a look without the wrist tape here, as both versions of the Elites have the wrist tape. I want to say this one's like a really early days version of Bam Bam, because he doesn't even have the tattoo on the inner arm here. And then you've got this one, which has the cobra there in the one side, and this side has a lot more tattoos as well. So at least this one is another one that's a little bit more modernized here with all the tattoos. Of course, as modern as we can get Bam Bam, as if I recall correctly, he's been passed away now. Feel free to correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but I want to say he, has been passed away, so it's not like we're going to get anything updated here. But yeah, don't mind me, I'm not the greatest with keeping up on death dates and stuff like that, especially for, wrestling. But nonetheless, why don't we get into our final thoughts on both of these figures now, shall we? Alrighty, you guys, now that we have them up here in the final pose, it looks like Bam Bam is being confronted by Bigelow backstage, maybe, I don't know. That's maybe all up for your guys' interpretation, but now we are here for the final thoughts, so why don't we get into the good, the bad, and the downright ugly. Of course, there is a lot of good, and realistically, the bad and the downright ugly might be more of a mix of the two, because there's not really anything bad about this set except for the little bit of schmutz on that one face, which is actually on the Big Boss Man. It's mainly on just the one side, so I'm not really going to show it. If you guys really want to take a look, well, look back in the earlier portions when we were going over the head scans. Now I get it, it's like 30 minutes to go through, but meh. Anywho, when it comes down to it at the end of the day though, honestly, both of these figures are really good when it comes down to posing for the most part. The Big Boss Man does lack in a couple of departments, but it may be mostly because of how the torso is shaped for Big Boss Man. As where with Bam Bam Bigelow, everything poses smooth as butter in my opinion. I do not have a single problem when it comes to this Bam Bam, including his kick forward. One of the reasons why I wanted to get this because of that Ultimate Edition and how the Ultimate Editions do kick forward. And honestly, on top of that, the Big Boss Man himself is also really damn good. When it comes to his articulation, like I said, it's mainly just the torso that hinders him. And I guess that's the one other thing you can mention when it comes down to the bad portions of this. As, yeah, you got the little bit of schmutz on the one face, but then on top of it, the torso itself does not pose very, very well. But honestly, everything is blown out of the park here. So when it comes down to it at the end of the day, what would I say on a scale of 1 to 10 for both of these men? Gonna do separate rankings, and then I guess we can kind of do a overall package, since you are 9 times out of 10 gonna be getting this in a packaged duo, as you can't really tend to get one without the other unless you go to the secondary markets like eBay, Macari or MaryCart, whatever the fuck it is, I don't know. But any of the secondhand marketplaces, including places like Facebook Marketplace. But yeah, honestly, when it comes down to it, doing the Big Boss Man first, honestly, knowing how his Elite poses and how this one poses, I would love to see maybe a more modern Big Boss Man. Not more modern, but a more modern Elite. I think we did get that re-release of Big Boss Man not too long ago, but I haven't picked it up, so I can't really compare that to this one. I just have to compare it to the original Elite. And compared to the original Elite, this man is honestly going to be a good 7 out of 10. Not a bad figure after like all the bells and whistles. Just wish the torso articulated a bit better, but that's also a problem that the Ultimate Editions do like run into. But yeah, and then the Bam Bam Bigelow over here, when it comes down to it at the end of the day, this may be the best Bam Bam like so far. And honestly, the main reason why I picked this up, if I'm gonna be honest with you. And with that being said, I'm gonna give this Bam Bam a good solid 9 out of 10. A damn near perfect figure, especially for the time period. It captures him quite well. But if I ranked him, too high and gave him that perfect 10 out of 10, well then honestly, if I ever said there was a figure that was better than this Bam Bam, what would I do? Give him an 11 out of 10? Yeah, we don't do that. One bites, everybody knows the rules. Anyway, at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, both of these men, on a scale of 1 to 10 as a package duo, especially for the price I got them for, because I got them both, technically I want to say, a little under retail. I'm going to have to give this a good solid 9 out of 10 together. Honestly, this is a nice 2-pack ordeal here, and I really, really love everything you get with it and every like bell and whistle that is included into each figure. Now, of course, when it comes down to the Dave Meltzer star rating, the 1 to 5 star match, the good old 1 to Young Buck match, what would I have to say? Of course, well, I gave him a 7 out of 10, so a good old 3 out of 5 stars I feel like suffice for him. A good old 4.5 out of 5 stars will do for his 9. And then altogether, it is a 4.5 out of 5 star package deal. If you can get this on sale on Amazon where I got mine from, I definitely recommend you do so. And honestly, with all that being said, at the end of the day, well, I don't really have anything else to say, so why don't we get signed up out of here now? So if you guys liked the video, feel free to like the video, but if you guys did not, well, womp womp, I guess. But if you guys did, feel free to maybe go check out some of my other content here. I'll show you guys some of the other videos I have up. It's been a little bit. I took about a week off from YouTube here. Had to get my arena set up as well, which took me an extra day. But we've got reviews like the Seth Rollins Ultimate Edition that I got not too long ago. We've got pick fed action, tag action nonetheless. We've got the NWO versus Pretty Deadly, the ringside exclusive Ultimate Edition CM Punk, the Monday Night War Stone Cold. We've got a lot of stuff here, let's be honest. If we scroll through it all, you'll probably see it all, including unboxings and other stuff of that nature. So what are you waiting for? Maybe go check out some of my other content. Hopefully not as long as this video is, depending on the content and topic there. But on top of that, if you guys could, and if you guys would, feel free to subscribe. After all, it is free to subscribe. And well, we are currently sitting at 394 subs, which is great because we are on the road to 400 subs. We are right there. We only need 6 more, so feel free to share this with your dog, your cat, your brother, your sister, your father, your mother, your grandmother, your grandfather, your uncle, your aunt. I don't care who, but if they enjoy wrestling figure content, feel free to send it to whomever to potentially help me out there as well if you guys could. I'm not begging you to. I'm not going to play in the arms of the angels and ask you for your donations here. All I want is just that simple sub. It helps keep everything moving. It helps keep everything grooving, because at the end of the day, without you guys, what the fuck am I? Just another speck in the YouTube realm. But with those subs, I can claim, hey, at least I'm almost at half 1,000 subs. And with that being said, after we reach 400, the big goal is to, get to half 1,000 subs. We're gonna just skip straight over that 50 mark and go straight into the 400, the 500. Even though we don't normally do that, it's gonna be kind of a little change just to kind of fuel the goal vibes up a little bit better, make it a little bit strenuous, or make it a little bit longer, because I'm still working on my 350 subscribers special, which is the United Kingdom tour. And by the time I get done with this tour, I could easily be at 400 by then, and I'll have to come up with something else that I'm gonna have to do for you guys, for getting me to my goals and helping me realize that this is actually fairly doable. Though, let's be honest, it's an expensive hobby, and on top of that, I'm not getting paid to do this shit, so what am I really doing? Just expressing the love in the community and giving my thoughts, and everything at the end of the day is just my opinion. You may think differently when it comes down to your figures at the end of the day, but at the end of the day, when it comes to mine, at least you guys got an extra opinion out there. So when you feel like the MDT review wasn't good enough, when you feel like the Kyle Peterson, I can't remember his exact name, but both phenomenal reviewers, maybe you guys can check mine out on top of it, compare it with their videos, and maybe that'll help you want to spend the potential $60 to $70 that this set could cost you. But yeah, on that note, I digress. Enough said. We are going to sign out of here because I do have another set of reviews to do. Another duo action figure review for you guys. If you guys haven't seen it up on Instagram, I hope you guys are ready for this. Speaking of, maybe feel free to go follow me on Instagram. Not long ago, I did do a Instagram exclusive pick fed show with a few other pick fedders in the community. So feel free to go check that out if you guys would like to. And on top of it, maybe I'll upload my match here as a part of the United Kingdom tour, aka Night 4. I planned on doing it anyways. But yeah, cheap little plug there for you guys, and a nice little announcement at the end of the video. I do have it all set up for the most part. I just gotta edit it really, and I've been taking my time with that because of course I don't want to get too into it and then I still gotta finish night 3, and I had to move back into my whole apartment. A big old nasty ordeal realistically that I'm trying to work through, and hopefully I should be able to. After all, I've got lights on, don't I? So yeah, I guess we'll be figuring that shit out when we get there. But on that note, I don't really have anything else to say, so have a good rest of your day, night, evening, whatever the case may be. I don't know because I'm not in your time zone, but what I will say is thank you all to subscribe and keep checking out my content and stuff, and giving me the big review numbers and or big pick fed numbers that I've been getting recently. It's been a blessing. It really has been. Whether you believe in God, Gandhi, Hebrew, whatever, I don't know. I'm not trying to get into a religion talk, but just it's a blessing nonetheless, and it's a blessing to keep making content for all of you. So yeah, thank you all for watching, and we are out of here. Deuces, ooses, yeet.